Hi everyone, Ray from ProString London. Today's racket is a tennis racket, Wilson Blade 98 Countervail V6 tennis racket. All right, Wilson Countervail Blade 98 V6 version number 6. 8 holes to the bottom, neck of the racket or throat, which means we have to always start from the bottom. Our first loop is going to be around the top of the frame. Diadem grips. Pretty good grips, I would say, as well. Not the most durable ones, but feels good at the start. And I am a Diadem distributor in the UK and Spain. Anyway, just caught my eye. 1619, if I'm not mistaken. 1619 it is. We have 2 mains, 1 to each side, 8 strings in total to each side. We've already got 1, 8 minus 1, as you'd imagine, is 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. 7. Give yourself a nice piece of string to reach your tension head. Depending on the machine you have, it'll be more or less, or to your preference as well. We are doing 4 knots, guys. This client's racket is in awful shape, but I mean awful. I did try getting the grommets on this. I had a nightmare. The company that I bought them from, my grommet distributor, ensured me that was the 100% the right grommets. But I spent 2 hours or more trying. It was one of those things that just really got me going, and I was ready to throw everything out the window. I remember it clearly because nothing had challenged me ever like that before when it came to changing grommets, and I've been challenged very much so by Babble Up Pure Dries, for example, and stuff, which I can do, but it's a pain in the ass. Excuse my French. Right, don't leave the clamp down, hold the clamp up. There is a little gap here. We leave that as is. That way there's enough space for the racket to come back into shape. Man, these grommets are just so bad. So I think this is the racket that I took the grommets out. I looked at the grommets, always check your grommets, make sure, and I did look at it, but then for some reason it just didn't match when it came to putting, so I had to put the old grommets back in, which is not looking pretty at all. But it was either that or giving back the client his racket with no grommet, which I just couldn't do. So despite being, I mean, the grommets were in awful shape anyway, so I've just added some tubing. Tubing is this little white grommet, pretty much. It's not a grommet, it's a piece of plastic. Tubing is like a little, it's a piece of tubing effectively that the string goes through, and it protects the string from the frame. That's what all the grommets, these little black things, grommets, that's what those do. Protect the string from the frame in itself. Anyway, as always, 3 strings to each side, guys, and follow that pattern to the end. Of course, once you've got 6, there's 8 to each side, then you're only left with 2 on each side. Stringing symmetrically, always balancing out your tension evenly. I know people that do string sometimes like 2 and 2, which I guess is probably completely valid as well. I wouldn't be able to see why not, but it's advisable not to go more than 3. We're using Yonex Poly Tour Pro strings, as you can see, in the color of yellow, in a 125mm gauge, 17 gauge. And number 6, 6th main string. So now I'll go to the other side and we work on another 3, which is 4, 5. I think this is my 6th or my 7th racket in a row today. I think I've done almost a video for each one, except for one maybe. 6th main, so just gone 1 p.m, 1:08 p.m. London, UK time, 12th of March 2024. So here we go. String's gone through some tubing that I've added on the previous restrings. Seems to have held quite well despite the position it's in. And we're on our last main string before tying our finishing knot. I've upped the tension 15%, as you should too. 15 or even 20%, also advisable these days. Right, I don't really have much of a choice. I would normally like to tie my knot here, the closest string over, but seeing the situation, I probably can go through as well, but I'm not going to persist on that because then I have to tie my knot around the tubing, which I don't want to do either. So that's just how it's going to roll for this racket. Unfortunately, this client's racket is in very poor condition and they seem to refuse to want to change. I don't know why. Some people just really want to get their squeeze the life out of the racket, but when he changes rackets, he'll be surprised how much more he gets from a new frame. Yeah, if you can afford it, change every 2-3 years maybe. No need to change every year. I mean, if you're playing a lot and at a high level, then maybe. Up your tension on the last 8th main string again before tying our finishing knot. This one, so the tubing is on the 8th and the other side was the 7th. So now I would normally make sure I tie the knots always in the same place, but in this case, because it's better, I will lose less tension on the 7th main instead of the 6th, and then I will use the other hole. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So what I'll probably do is, yeah, there's space. I'll probably open up that grommet there instead of using my 5th parnell knot, guys. I'll go back to that in a second. Instead of using the 5th main string, which is a little bit far away from my liking, I will use I'm going to open it up with the awl now. Be safe, be careful what you do with this very dangerous tool when it comes to stringing. So I could easily go through here, which it seems someone has previously, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to wiggle my way through here and use it on the 6th main. So guys, your main strings is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, skip 1, 8. It's exactly the same at the bottom. 7, skip 1, 8. Obviously the other side is the same. Yeah, that's the only thing. I'm tying my knots in slightly different places because of the condition in the racket, so I'm kind of adapting to the racket in itself. But anyway, not the end of the world either. 1, 2, 3. The reel is not, string's not coming out it smoothly, so I'm gonna have to do this pretty much manually. It's a bit annoying. Sometimes it happens for whatever the reason, the string just, sometimes if you tighten your string too much, so let's say you want to put the string away in the reel and you start, putting it back in, don't pull the string. Don't make it really tight, because if you do that, this is probably what happens. It makes the stringer's life a lot more difficult. Anyway, not too bad. I've seen much worse, where you've got to take apart the whole reel sometimes in the worst cases. But anyway, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and a half for 19 crosses. Just check my camera. All good. Okay, as I said, I've opened up the hole here, nice and easy. Just use the awl a little bit just to enlarge or give myself some bit more space to get through. All good. No need to tighten your starting knot very tight, because the machine or the tension will take care of that, so no sweat with that. Stringing with 1 ahead or 1 in front. What does that mean? I'm always going to have 2 strings weaved. As you can see, I've got the one I did first, and then I've got my second one, surely because it makes the weaving process in itself much easier when you have the second one ahead. As the tension gets tighter in the racket, when you start adding your crosses, it does get more difficult to weave. So if you're just doing one at a time and then pulling that string, you will find yourself with a harder weave, or a hard weave, I believe it's actually called. Feels a bit loose again. Perfect. Your clamps shouldn't be super tight when it's gripping, when you're clamping on the string, and it shouldn't be super loose either. Find yourself a nice happy medium. I am officially hungry. Not sure what's on the menu today. I do live in Acton, West London, where I'm stringing from now, and there's 1,000 options outside my doorstep. I live just off the high street on a dead-end street, which is great. Kids can play out there, etc. But then we walk around the corner and we have 1,000 million options for food, groceries, fruit stalls. Pretty cool place to live, Acton in London at least. Very diverse, I have to say. It also does vary a lot by street. Our street is quite different to the high street, I would say. High street's probably even more diverse to our street. A lot of English, white English, I guess you could say. I'm trying not to catch my fingers in here how I say things. And then on the high street, there's a lot more, I would say, much more Arabic, different kind of Arabic backgrounds, Turkish, even Egyptian. Oh, not so much Egyptian actually. Lots of Turkish. There are lots of kebab, quite a few kebab chicken places, which make some really good food actually. Lots of fresh food. So the options are great. I must be really hungry if I'm talking about food on a video whilst swinging a tennis racket. Yeah, say that again. Anyway, but my favorite is Kusheng Peng. I won't tell you what that translates into. Figure it out yourself. It is a Caribbean restaurant, so a little bit of a hint there. It is the best Caribbean restaurant in London by far, I promise you. Maybe I need to become an influencer for food in Acton at least. But yes, Kusheng Peng in Acton. Find it, go there. Ask for Don and Donna, who are the owners. Don is my neighbor. Sorry for rambling on, but yes, spectacular food. The jerk chicken is to die for. I have been to Jamaica and I know a good jerk chicken, and this is better than when I went to Jamaica. At least that I remember. I have to say, I probably wasn't very sober. Hard to remember going back that long, considering I was not that sober. Anyway, sorry. Slight sidetrack. So guys, make sure you are pulling your strings down when you're pulling through your cross strings. Also, support your string when you are pulling or tightening your string, your cross string. Support the string, don't let it go down. You don't have to pull it up super high, but just nicely support it, yeah? I don't know if I mentioned the tension, 55 pounds of tension all round the client has requested. The client dropped off at our Hammersmith location, which is also a residential address. We have two residential addresses, which are workshops / drop-off points in West London, which work to seem very well. Lots of tennis courts in the area. Lots of parks in London. If you've been to London before, you know what I'm talking about, but there seems to be parks all over the place, and most of them have tennis courts, which is great. Unfortunately, the quality of the courts are pretty crap. They're just like tarmac, literally. It's like the road. It's not nice on the knees or the back. or anything. So little forgiving, it's not so fun. I wonder where my courier is. I've been waiting for a courier now like an hour. I was showing them not far away. Anyway, I'll leave my door open just to be safe. And I can hear them, seeing that I'm talking by myself, talking to myself again on another video. I have upped my tension, guys. That was the last cross, sorry. I think I'm still thinking about food now. I did skip breakfast this morning. I do some intermittent fasting. Don't ask me why. It's supposed to be healthy, but I don't do that much sport anymore, so I'm trying to not be a fat person. Oh dear. At least for myself, hey. I'm not saying anything. Maybe I should take that back. I take it back. Parnell knot, guys. Don't have to pull that string all that tight. But yes, seeing that I don't do so much sport anymore, I seem to pile on a little bit of weight, and I'm trying to avoid that. But at the same time, I want to eat what I want to eat. I'm sure you get me. As they say in London, you know what I mean? Anyways, yes, I'm losing my mind. Right, guys, straighten up your strings. In my case, it looks pretty straight. It's not often I have to do much work on that, at least. Sounds pretty good. It's a shame the looks like he uses only one side. This actually is quite common. This side grommet's okay, health-wise. This side, non-existent. At least it looks like at least the paint job's still there, so he's not scraping the floor all that much. But what happens when you don't change your grommet? Eventually you'll make a hole in the racket if you keep the rackets long enough and keep scraping the floor. But if you're talented enough to not scrape the floor, then you may be able to salvage it for many more years to come. Anyway, to all my viewers out there, not all that many, I'd imagine, I hope that was somewhat knowledgeable and some good information for you guys. Right, that was the Wilson Countervail Blade 98 V6 version 6, guys. There you have it. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Take care of yourselves. Happy stringing. Bye-bye.